Hi again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of RV Business Capital Talk, sponsored by Eric Sell. I'm Rick Kessler from RV Business. Also from RV Business is Sherman Goldenberg. And joining the two of us today to talk about Go RVing, we have Jeremy Greene. Jeremy is Vice President of Marketing for the RV Industry Association. And also from RVIA, Karen Redfern. Karen Redfern, Chief Marketing Officer and Senior Vice President. Both of you, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having
Glad to be
us.
with y'all.
So this Go RVing thing, I never heard of it. What's that all about? Actually, what do
Isn't it
we
great?
get on 30 years now?
We're getting right there to 30 years since we've been in the public. In 90, we started in 97, so 27 will be 30 years that we've been out to the public. We just passed the 30-year mark of where we started getting the ball rolling and creating the program. So, our goal still today is the same as when it was created, which is to, help to build the RV industry by getting more and more consumers in. So that's
And it
our
really is it's the envy of so
objective.
many industries to have a program like this where the industry comes together to build the market together. It's been tried before, and the Go RVing is just, special light that's able to deliver.
A
We have a
truly, unique program, and I'm not asking. I mean, I knew where it was when it got underway. Still co-owned, RVDA, RVIA
Correct. Our
as
board is
ever.
comprised of half of the dealer members and half of the manufacturing members. So
Well, Karen,
yes,
Karen, could you talk a little bit more about the board because we are coming up on the anniversary of the new board makeup, so to speak.
correct. And we have a voting membership on the board. We have members that represent both the dealer side of the equation and also the RVIA side of the equation. So we've got the two, the chairs of the Go RVing Coalition are the co-chairs of the RVIA board. We've got whoever the current chairman of each board. So this year's Mary Pouliot, and we have Larry Trout from RVDA side. And then we have the two presidents of the trade associations. And then the other are one seat for each of the trade associations to assign someone on the board. And we currently have Amber Holm, who's the CMO at Winnebago, and Sarah Marshall from General RV.
But you've also
So,
filled a lot of the other spots around the table with key individuals from the industry that can help push that marketing efforts forward, right?
correct. Our coalition, then we used to have such a large coalition and we reduced the size of the coalition. And the representatives again are split between RVDA appointed members and RVIA appointed members on those two groups.
I think what's so great is there's so many great marketing minds in this industry now. Our brands are really forward thinking about how they're reaching out to the consumer to, not only reach them with their own brand identity, but to promote the lifestyle to them. And so to bring all of that talent together under the coalition and also the board, it's been fantastic kind of to drive that strategic direction of the Go RVing program. And we're seeing that kind of that next phase coming with, just being, better, more strategic in how we reach the consumer.
But
And what's wonderful, you remember, Sherm, when we started this, all of the companies did not have marketing teams, and that's why we created this program. But it's really been so great. I've watched the industry grow, and now our members have those marketing teams, and it's great because our team gets to go and meet with them and work together on making sure we've always been the top of the funnel for Go RVing, pushing everyone down, and so that the members can then pull them into their brands, pull them into their dealerships. But now we're able to go out and work with our members to make sure they've got marketing programs and ensure that what we're doing, they can play off of and they can pull into those same resources. And we're not duplicating efforts, but we're getting that bigger reach that most of their budgets can't reach. And then we can push them down to them. It's been great to form those relationships with all of the member teams.
how often do these people sit down in the same room with each other, not just virtual phone meetings?
It's a combination. Our coalition meets twice a year in person at RVDA's conference and then at RV's Move America. We sometimes have calls in between that we'll have. And then our teams have been going out. We'll be in Elkhart next week, and we've got meetings set up throughout the week with several of those marketing teams. And we do that on a regular basis to spend that face-to-face time.
And what's your sense, and what's the general sense as to how things have been going?
Really well. Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, specific to, the marketing efforts of the program or the industry as a whole.
The whole umbrella.
Unity?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's no surprise that the industry is in, a challenging spot with, some policies coming out of Washington and just, it's really worldwide economic conditions. It's important, I think, in moments like this to stay in front of the American consumer, to show them. I mean, you know, the competition for attention in the outdoor space and in the travel space isn't getting smaller. Brands, across the sector are spending more and more money to try and attract those consumers. And so as an industry, I think we're lucky to have a program that can consolidate resources and push out messaging to those consumers to attract them to RVing. I don't think people are going to go away from outdoors. I don't think they're going to go away from travel. They may change, some of their habits around, how they get outside and how they decide to spend their travel budget. But it's really important that we drive home, and that's what our upcoming campaign is really all about. That we drive home the purchase of an RV and joining the RV lifestyle. It's got to be an emotion that's driven by connection and heart and the memories that you're going to make. And not by, the dollars and cents and, and looking at, going across the table and plotting out all of the cost. And so that's what we're really trying to drive forward with our messaging to consumers.
You
We're trying to
provided, go ahead, I'm sorry.
We're trying to get the consumer to see us as a need, not just a want, because they need to be part of what RVing offers to them.
It's kind of a natural segue. Rick, take it.
Well, yeah, Jeremy, Karen, at the leadership conference in Phoenix a month or so ago, that was the first time I think, at least for my ears, heard about the new campaign that you're getting set to launch here. Pretty exciting stuff. Why don't you tell us about it?
Okay, I'll give you a little overview and then Jeremy can talk a little bit more about some of the technology that we used, which was cool. But this is all new to me. I mean, I've been producing these things for over 30 years involved with it. It always meant that you had to figure out a timing of when the weather was going to be nice. Where were you going to geographically? How many RVs do we have to get? We had all the people. It was a lot of logistics to figure out where you were going. And if you got there on set and you hit a couple days of rain, it could throw your entire schedule off, and I mean, I've been there in the woods holding tarps up high, trying to keep the RV dry. So it looked like we were in a sunny day and we're getting drenched. I mean, and so this time we switched agencies for creative at the end of last year. So we worked with our new agency, BVK, out of Milwaukee. And in their presentation to us during the RFP, one of their concepts was this campaign called Just Beyond Your Door. And that really resonated with us. And when we started plotting out how they were going to produce this, they came up with a really unique technology to utilize to produce it, which changed how we did the production. It was 3 days. We didn't have to worry about the weather. But what we were still able to accomplish all of those things that we would want to. We still had the people in the RVs, and what made it unique is we really got to tell that story and be part of it. And I think we've gone into wanting that emotional connection again with this campaign, trying to bring a little bit of that back to the consumer. So that, as I said, we want this to become something that they know they absolutely need in their life to be part of. And, they just go right out and become one of our RV users instead of just a dreamer. So it's a great campaign messaging that we have, and Jeremy can share
Yeah.
some of the really cool technology we were able to use for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think just the campaign itself, I mean, such a differentiating factor for RV, travel and the lifestyle is every time you open that door, you get, new adventures, new experiences. And when you do that in other forms of travel, when you open up your hotel door, what do you see across from you? Just another hotel, door across from you, a kind of bland hallway. And so we have such an opportunity to share the amazing locations, that you can visit in an RV, amazing campgrounds, amazing national and state parks. And so we were able to use this technology, this volume stage technology. It first kind of came to life when they filmed The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. And we actually had, one of the assistant directors that was part of that production, part of building out this technology that was on the team that put this campaign ad together for us. And so as Karen said, in 3 days, we built out sets, live sets with live RVs, live talent, but then using these amazing LED walls and, overhangs to immerse, the scene in wherever we were. So that could have been the canyons, that could have been the mountains, a lakeside campground, a winter scene. And we brought in, just amazing special effects to bring the whole scene to life. You'll see when the ad launches next week. I mean, it's a single camera movement that pushes through, a door into a new location over the 30 seconds. And, I think we visit, 5 or 6 different locations. The other cool thing is, we have some amazing campaigns that led up to this that had some fantastic hero shots of, drone footage of RVs and just fantastic locations. And using this technology, we're able to push a camera through the inside of an RV, showing multiple scenes of, an extended family and doing different things throughout the course of a day that takes up 8 seconds of that 30-second spot. But the technology really allows us to bring that to life. So we're really, really inspired by what we're going to be bringing to consumers, and we think it's going to make deep connections with them.
30-second spots that wind up where, Jeremy? Sharon.
So yeah, I mean, that's the other thing is it's such a visual, campaign that, we wanted to kind of look at, how we were delivering that. And we want to attract obviously our, the young families have been such a core audience for continuing to build out the market. We can't forget about, the older demographic that, maybe has, money saved away to go ahead and, in their retirement years, join the lifestyle. But at the end of the day, that messaging out to them, we want them to feel young, feel adventurous, and that's a connecting factor. So streaming TV, connected TV, online video is a huge way that we're reaching out to those audiences. Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime. We've got some great partnerships in the work with Nat Geo, Paramount Plus, Peacock, DirecTV. There's some where you see content is where we're going to be. And certainly streaming content is, a big way of reaching these mass, consumer audiences and the targeted demographics that we're trying to reach. And so that's where you'll be seeing the ads.
I think one thing to point out a little bit more about what you just said, Jeremy and Karen, putting that commercial, that video in front of people using streaming services allows you to really pinpoint your target audience that we all want us to get to, and right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, one of the things about, streaming TV and, that like old, style of like broadcast where the family gathered around the TV at night. I mean, we're so disconnected from that. Everybody is on their device. But conversations around travel usually happen in those moments where you bring people together. So we're trying to find opportunities within streaming, TV where folks gather together. so that we can kind of generate a conversation around, how great it would be to go on an RV trip, to own an RV, to go camping constantly. And like I mentioned earlier, we're not forgetting about, the older, generation, who we know is probably more of a low-hanging fruit for the industry right now, which we need to be bringing buyers in. So we've got a great partnership in the works with AARP, where we're going to stay right in front of them to highlight the joys that RVing can bring to their retirement years. And so that's part of it, as well as a decent size social influencer campaign with content creators. We have folks that have either just wrapped up their trip or are out right now, 14 different content creators that are going to be pushing content out on social media. Folks have already started to see that rolling out through Go RVing social channels, and we'll be putting paid dollars behind that in the second half of the year to reach kind of like lookalike audiences. So yeah, I mean, it's, media is very fragmented. And so, identifying your target audience and then where they consume media and how and when to reach them is really critical to how we deliver the message.
And Karen, that's not to say, well, Jeremy's already said a little bit of it, but in addition to some of the other traditional media, you're still partnering with some print magazines. You're still doing experiential events. I think Dana Delvecchio mentioned what, a 10 or 12 or so of those events this
We
summer.
have 12 this year, I think.
Yeah.
And that's important because that's where we meet consumers in a place where they never expected to see an RV. When they got up and decided they were going to that air show or that food festival or cultural festival, music festival, they didn't particularly think, I'm going to go look at an RV today. But it gives them the chance to wander through and see what it is and get to know a little bit about RVing when they're at those events. And, they can ask us questions. It's really in a no pressure area too. They may not feel comfortable yet walking into a dealership, but they'll take a first look at what we have and see where they can connect with it. And,
So,
you know, even
go
those
ahead.
traditional print have a lot of the digital components. Everybody that's in print has got a digital website. So a lot of our, custom content pieces we're doing are with what we would consider a print title, but it's often on their digital platform because it gives us more flexibility. Because as Jeremy said, we have a visual story to tell, and it's told so much more eloquently when you get to see the RVs and what you can experience in those RVs.
I'd mentioned too, and this goes back several years, back when my Michigan State football team was actually good. I did attend an experiential event. It was at Michigan State when Michigan State hosted Oregon, the Ducks. And I saw firsthand people going through each unit and coming out and saying, wow, it has a bathroom. It's better than my
Yes.
apartment. All of those familiar expressions, but seeing it firsthand really hit home how much of an impact that can have on people.
It does.
Those
And I think the very first experiential event we did, we came back as a team that excited as well because for the first time we saw consumers walk in and get so excited about what this looked like inside. And that's when we came back and said, okay, we need to do this on a broader spectrum and get these in front of people more. They see them
It's
going past
so
on the highway.
inspirational. Yeah, I mean, when
Yeah.
you can get somebody in an RV to kind of like, touch and feel and see yourself and your family in it, it just drives the conversation of like all the places you can go and how you would use it, And so, yeah, getting them to dealerships, getting them to RV shows, or getting them into an RV in a place that they never thought that they would walk into one, is definitely critical to connecting to them.
That's one of the things I like about the new marketing campaign where you're taking us virtually through the RV. So we're getting a chance to walk through an RV virtually. Yep.
Yes.
I'm guessing that it would be premature, perhaps, to ask you about the size of the campaign this year, given the year and the revenues thereof.
Well,
We
I
have,
mean, we certainly have a dedicated, spend. But yeah, I mean, some of it's determined on, how the industry's doing. And so it's something we constantly watch. We also look at opportunities that come across our plate, from media partners, where we can extend the coverage of the originally baked campaign. So yeah, I mean, it's something we're always watching.
and that is, one advantage to things being digital. In the past, if the market took a downturn, when you had time already tied up on specific television buys at certain time slots with certain shows, or in a print, because print goes, as you know, to print, several months in ahead of time. So there would be penalties. It's a lot easier for us to adjust on the fly. With digital, we can move them. If something's performing really great in front of that audience, we can move some of the money around and get more in that audience. And, it makes it a lot more flexible and a lot more almost personalized for what we can do in talking to consumers. So today's job of moving that around is much easier than it used to be.
Guys, the campaign sounds terrific. I love the technology behind the video shoot. When can we see it?
Funny you should ask that question. We're going live. This is our live week this week. We'll start being across the media. So why don't you introduce it to the industry folks that are tuning in?
Oh, terrific. Thank you so much. And again, thank you so much for your time. Always good to catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all.
Too.
Okay, roll the tape. I've always wanted to say that.
When you go RVing, every open door brings new possibilities, new memories to be made, new places to explore, new ways to feel alive. All the freedom of the open road and all the comforts of home. Wherever you go, it's all there waiting for you, just beyond your door.